Now, this one might jump around a little bit because I feel quite strongly on this one, so I may ad lib as I go through it. But many people have an unreasonably bad perception of salespeople, mostly because of the way they have been portrayed in movies and TV, and because they may have had a bad experience where they feel they were taken advantage of by a salesperson. Okay, I suppose I'll be very clear on that. There are, of course, unscrupulous salespeople out there, but there's unscrupulous everybody everywhere in every industry, and we can't let the idea that one or two guys or girls or whoever ruin the image of the whole thing. You've undoubtedly had some pleasant experiences with people who've sold you things, people who've made good recommendations, people who've steered you towards something that was probably a better fit for you overall. Okay. Try and remember the following as you go through this. People come looking for a solution to a problem that may have existed for a long time, and it's often having a negative effect on the quality of their life. Okay, so people come to us, they want to tone up, they want to lose fat, they want to improve their health and well-being. Okay, we want to help them achieve that goal, and we want to do it in a way that works for everybody that's involved. So it works for them, it works for the company, and it works for you as a coach. Selling exists simply to swap value. You buy things because they are easier and or they solve a conscious or subconscious or unconscious problem. Here's an example. Going for a cup of coffee. Okay? Going for a cup of coffee for many people isn't actually about the cup of coffee. It's about that moment to go where you kind of just drift off into your own little world and somebody hands you something that you kind of like and you walk out and leave. And some people will pay, a lot for that. Some people will pay a little for that, but it's important to bear that in mind. You're simply swapping value. I can buy, and I have done this, a coffee machine. I can buy decent beans, and overall I can make, let's say I drink a cup of coffee a day using that machine. I can make 364 cups of coffee for an awful lot less money than I would by going into a coffee shop and buying them. I will still at times go in and buy them, simply because at that point in time, it is solving a problem or it's giving me something that I want. Okay. The fitness industry and many other industries are plagued with people that have spent years educating themselves, but didn't push beyond that onto the next skill level. Okay. And the next skill level of being able to turn their skill set into, the expertise that they have into monetary value. And from there, they never really make a good living. And it's absolutely not something I want for anybody with this and going through this training, because without getting too dramatic about it, you can have an incredibly positive impact on the quality of somebody's life. Okay, and I don't say deserve because that's not the right term, but I feel that you should be able to live a good quality life based on the work you've done to get your skill level and your experience and your expertise to a point where you're actually able to do that for people. Okay, and I do feel really strongly on that. The next one then is, there's nothing wrong with charging for your time and helping people spend money they will spend anyway on a product or service you believe in. Okay, put simply, they could train with us, or they could train with some other inferior service, or potentially with a better service. But which option do you think is better? That they purchase something from us in a product and a service that we've thought through and is quite deliberate, or they join some, without being too unkind, some donkey who's going to get Nula, who's never trained a day in her life, trying to do power cleans and overhead squats when they're unnecessarily or unreasonably risky based on what she wants to do. Okay, so try and just consider that. The next one is the value people attach to achieving their goal. Okay, so losing a stone and being fitter and healthier is often much higher than you think it is. Okay, and I've talked about this previously. I'll happily pay €100 to ride a motorcycle in the rain on technical roads and then have my riding critiqued by an expert rider. Other people would see that as complete lunacy. That's okay, we're all different, but it is important that we don't let our biases cloud how we follow this process and limit the offers that we make to people. Okay? Next approach we then with that is we do this by offering genuine advice that is helpful and remove things we know about the person. This means not assuming somebody does not want or can afford PT sessions, nutritional coaching, etc., etc. Okay? Our responsibility is to get the person to understand what it is that they want to move away from, logical, price in their eyes, to emotional purchases. Being fit enough to play with their kids, feel like my old self, get a pull-up, etc., etc. And buy the right product, which is overall coaching and accountability. Again, I feel really strongly on this. If I had all the money I could ever need, I never needed to work a day in my life, and somebody asked me about fitness, I would still encourage them to hire a coach to teach them the fundamentals and hold them accountable to the plan week after week until they hit and sustain their goal. I suppose I'll say this, I don't know, hopefully as a kind of a summary of the whole thing. The fitness industry is moving and changing. People are becoming much more aware of how important this stuff is. If you've got a degree, if you've got a master's, this skill, learning this stuff and improving your ability to actually to go through this process will have a very, very profound impact on the quality of your life. Okay, I really don't want somebody to be in a situation where they are highly educated, highly skilled, and the only thing that's stopping them from really making a dent and having a much, much, much better quality of life is because they haven't gone through this process and they haven't learned and developed this. Again, and I talk about this kind of, repeatedly, think about it the same way as someone who turns up to the gym, they've been going to Westwood 2-3 times a week for the last 4 years, and they just aren't really going anywhere. Okay, the reason they aren't going anywhere is the system they're using is broken and is unsuitable for the result that they want. So don't let your limiting beliefs around this stuff that, people don't want to buy that training, or I'm not a salesperson, or I can't learn this skill, or whatever, cloud this for you. There may be an element of truth in that selling and doing this stuff isn't your forte, but we're not really asking you to become an expert at it. We're just asking you to move your skill from where it is currently to a little bit better than that. It's similar to somebody, may have a predisposition to being, very, very strong. And that's great. They may get to a point where they're really, really strong, but you can get most people to go from not being particularly strong to being a hell of a lot stronger in about 26 weeks. So it's the same with this, this approach to selling and this skill. We'll learn it, we'll go through it, we'll practice it, we'll have bits that aren't good, we'll have bits that are better, but over time, our skill set will improve and the quality of your life will improve as a result.